Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a retro review for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom from 1984. As we continue on our way to Dial of Destiny, I've been rewatching the Indiana Jones films. We have review for Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, it's been a long time since I've watched a lot of these films, and even some of the other ones I haven't never seen. So it's really fun to kind of visit and revisit this franchise in preparation for Dial of Destiny. This film is rated PG with a runtime of an hour and 58 minutes. As of the recording of this video, the Rotten Tomato score is 76% for the critics, the audience 82%. And you know what? I tend to agree. I don't think this film is as good as the first outing. So in the second outing of the Lucas Spielberg Indiana Jones epics, set a year or so before the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indy needs to retrieve a precious gem and several kidnap young boys on behalf of the remote East Indian village. This time he teams up with a nightclub singer and a 12-year-old boy. This is directed by Steven Spielberg, written by Willard Huyck, Gloria Katz, and George Lucas. Now, I will say there's a lot of very fun information about this film, but one of the things that some people may not know, especially if you're watching these for the first time, uh, the reason that we have a PG-13 rating was in part because of this film. This film gets really dark at some points, and it was rated PG at the time. PG-13 was not a rating that existed, but after this film and Gremlins, the MPA decided that they needed to create a PG-13 to really give an additional warning to parents. So, fun fact: Red Dawn was the first film to actually have a PG-13 rating. So, there you go. Go tell your friends, some really fun trivia that is useless, but nonetheless, it's in your head now. And this movie stars Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. We have Kate Capshaw as Willie Scott, Ki Hugh Kwan as Short Round, and Amrish Puri as Mola Ram. Um, this film is bananas from the get go. We open up with this big spectacle dance number, which really felt very much out of place for like the franchise, like for an action adventure franchise. It also almost felt like the opening of a James Bond film instead of an Indiana Jones film, which I thought was really interesting. And those are a lot of the details that I don't remember. Like I think everyone remembers specifically the last part of the movie, with the Kalima and everything, the heart taken out, all that stuff. But yeah, I didn't remember, like, if I had seen this movie before, and like I said, I don't remember which ones I've seen and which ones I haven't. This one was definitely, so that part I did not remember at all. Also, I'm not the biggest fan of the character Willie Scott. Especially after having such a cool character like Marion on the first film, but nonetheless, here we are. Uh, this film is another thrilling adventure with the iconic archaeologist, but it's a film that exhibits both some strengths and weaknesses here, as I've mentioned. One of the most notable drawbacks, in my opinion, it's in how slow sometimes and confusing the start is. There's so much happening. This affects the pacing up until about 45 minutes in. That's when I finally felt like, okay, we are now really in an Indiana Jones film. I don't know how everyone feels about that, but that was just my impression going back. The story really takes its time setting up the plot, opting for a deliberate build-up that may test your patience really. I think I specifically with Raiders, we just kind of really jumped very quickly into the action, and that felt like really fun. Um, the initial exposition just feels very drawn out, convoluted, multiple threads, and maybe setting up some subplots that I don't think they were ever explored. So yeah, that whole intricate web of narratives just to me it was not a lot of fun. What I was expecting from this film. So where Temple of Doom really sets itself apart from the predecessor is in how much darker it is in tone, the imagery, the violence. Like this is, I can see why audiences and the MPA believe that they needed to have a more nuanced rating system. The departure from the lighter tone of Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is not as light as you may think. But it's still, this is a lot more gruesome and some unsettling territories explored. You know, also some really weird situations, like people are getting shot all over the place, poisoned. Yeah, but it still has all the things that make an Indiana Jones film, right? It has chases and just the puzzles and the exploration. What I was not expecting is to seeing the themes of like human sacrifice, black magic, the supernatural, just kind of embracing all that stuff. It creates a different atmosphere than the first film, and it just shifts it to a darker tone, a more an edgier tone to the franchise. Which I don't know if that's exactly where the creators wanted to go. But despite all that, the cast still delivers great performances. Of course, Harrison Ford is, Indiana Jones at his finest. I will, like I mentioned before, I was not the biggest fan of Kate Capshaw as Willie Scott. I don't think her character had like one speed, and sometimes it worked, but sometimes it just felt like maybe they were trying something that didn't fully connect. Uh, what I do want to talk about is Ki Hugh Kwan in his portrayal of the young and resourceful showground. He just brings a fantastical aspect to the story. Kwan's very charismatic and energetic as a young actor. It just really adds a spark to the film. It injects humor and bravery, and just really, like, especially if I was watching this as a child, like I'd be like, that little kid is so cool, right? Because he is on the same level as Indy, pretty much. Like, I love also the themes of like he really views Indy as a friend, and he's the one that kind of has to get him out of some tough spots during the film. So while Harrison Ford is usually this like rugged, like um, no nonsense kind of guy. Short brings a different side to the character, which is really fun to see. And of course, Ki Hugh Kwan is having a renaissance at the moment, so that is great to see. I didn't see much of his work when I was a kid, so like all of his other performances are really kind of lost on me. But I was aware of the character, I was aware of the actor, who he was. So I'm very glad that he's having a moment. And every time he has an interaction with Harrison Ford or Steven Spielberg, you know, I really enjoyed seeing that as well. Another aspect that I kind of miss in Temple of Doom was the absence of Marion, but of course this takes place before that. But it feels like they already knew each other. I don't know. It just felt like she was a very vital part of the first film and the success of that. I wish if we didn't have her, we had a character like her, who is just a very good counterpart to Indy. So that was kind of a shame, because unfortunately the character of Willie Scott did not play the same for me. So, but this movie's fun. This movie, once it gets going, it really hits. Like I said, I don't think it's as fun as Raiders of the Lost Ark, in my opinion, and I'll wait to see what happens with the Last Crusade and the other films. But yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying going back and rewatching these films and talking about them and making these videos. So if you like these films, if you like the franchise, let me know down in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here on the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.